Hello, my name is Mike Pfaff, and this is my YouTube channel, Living in the Illusion. Now on our board here, we have the model from our last video, and I will reference that up there, and it was very exciting. And what it was is, can you be anything? Can you be anything but an energy being? Now, as part of that, and of course this was taken off, we've done several videos now using this model, expanding it. This will be the last time for a while. We have other stuff to discuss. But in this model, we referenced through Google and through AI the fact that scientifically everything is energy. Everything is energy and interconnected. But this one here was how you recognized everything comes from this infinite field of everything. And that you, from this, through your lens of perception, create your world and create me in your world. And 2 videos ago we talked about how I only exist because of you, and you create me the way I am. And of course, I create you the way you are. So you never see me the way I am. You always see me filtered through your lens of perception. So I don't exist the way I am. I exist the way you are, because it's your belief system that creates me. And this is the only world you have. This is the only world there is. Now that sounds funny because I just pointed at another world over there. Doesn't matter. This is the one you live in. This is the one you occupy. This is the one you create. This is the only world there is. There's no other world. Now in your mind, because you can create it, you can create out of here, because everything is here, other worlds, and say, oh, there's another world over there. But that world over there, or what you know about it, is in here, because this is the only world there is. It's your world. Now, as you think about that, oh, how exciting is that, we'll go on to another topic. And this is our subject for today. And I'll read it off my paper. And it says here, daring truth. Daring truth. Your health is a mind game. It's a game. You might not think about your health as a game, but I'm going to develop a model and let's just see what happens. Now in my model here, I've started and I have some symptoms of a problem. And here are the symptoms. Coughing, sneezing, runny nose, watery eyes, headache, body aches, those kind of things. Now if you get those kind of things, we usually give them a name. We look at this and we say, oh, well, that is a cold or flu. So I have a cold. So I have a cold because these are the symptoms of a cold, according to Google. Now, so before we go on, that's just the start. I want to point out that in the egoic world, health, or to be healthy, is a moderation of symptoms. We moderate the symptoms. That seems to be what our healthcare system does. It takes these symptoms and say, well, we will moderate these. And so we have certain medications that moderate these, and when the symptoms go away, we say, oh, well, you see, we moderated the symptoms, and you don't have a cold. Is that true? So moderating symptoms is how we handle our health here in Western civilization. Not just this country, but Western countries usually look at moderating symptoms. If we don't have any symptoms, then we don't have a problem. So our main goal is to moderate the symptoms. So it doesn't work that well. Here's why. 'Cause that's our goal. That's what we do. We moderate symptoms. That's what the healthcare profession does. You go in and he says, what's your problem? And you say, well, I got sneezing, I got cold, whatever these are, symptoms. And he says, oh, well, I'll give you this kind of pill and that kind of pill. Keep off your feet, keep warm, and it goes away. And he's right, it will go away if it's a cold. Now, symptoms are effects. These are effects. What's the cause? Well, you say, I got a cold. That's a name for the symptoms. That's what we name when we have these symptoms. So what's the problem? I got a cold. No. That's the name of these symptoms. This name does not tell you what the problem is. It tells you what the effects of the problem is. So someplace there is a problem. So you have a problem. Here's a problem. It's called a causal problem. What's a causal problem? Well, you got a cold. No, the cold isn't the problem. This is an effect. What's the problem? You got a virus. So you got a virus here, and this is your problem. And now, when a virus enters the system, the body system, you have no symptoms. You have no symptoms when the virus enters the body. It takes about 3 days of the virus working on the body before your body begins to, through your immune system, to understand that you got a problem. And then this builds up, and your immune system is put into effect, and so there's a time event distance. Virus enters, and then symptoms occur. So and that's how we kind of define time. So there's time for about three days before you recognize the symptoms. And then once you recognize the symptoms, your immune system is turned on, and your immune system works hard, and the virus works hard to survive. And these symptoms are a result of the battle between the virus and the immune system. In about 14 days, if you're healthy, your immune system will overcome the virus and the symptoms go away. So you have a problem, a causal problem, and then your immune system, your bodily functions begin to operate and overcome the effects. So this is a cause and effect. This is the cause, this is the effect. When you heal the cause, what happens to the symptoms or the effects of the virus? They're gone. They're not there. They're gone. You heal the problem, the causal problem, and then the symptoms disappear. Does that make sense? Now that's our model. I want you to look at this. Cause and effect. Cause and effect. And in a cause and effect, before I go on, I wanted to go back to reference, and I'm going to put some of it up here, but not all of it. You'll see it in the description. The fact that the United States, America believes they're the healthiest country in the world, but rank 34th in life expectancy. Life expectancy is a marker as to how healthy the country is as a whole. And the United States, who spends more money on health care than any other country, is 34th. So it leaves us with the question, our approach must have some flaws in it. Our approach of manipulating symptoms must be flawed. And I'm mentioning this because this is the mindset. This is how we have handled healthcare in this country and in Western civilization for a long time. And there are some countries, particularly in Europe, Switzerland, other places, Denmark, where there's a shift. And they begin to recognize that there is a causal problem for each set of symptoms. And rather than manipulating these and trying to turn the symptoms down, you got to work at solving the problem. Now we think this is the problem. Oh, this is the problem. Well, it is, but it's the result of the cause. It's a cause and effect. Now, I'm going to put up here one more time. I mentioned it before, but I'll put it up there again. And it is from the Hermetic principles, and this one is the 6th one, cause and effect. Every cause has an effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to the law. Chance is but the name of a law not recognized. There are many planes of causation. but nothing escapes the law. This is the effect. This is the cause. You heal the cause, the effect goes away. Now, there are times when it's appropriate to reduce or manipulate the symptoms. That is not a question. It is appropriate to do that. But to recognize that there's a cause and to heal the cause is not part of manipulating this in the egoic mindset. So we go in, and there are, well, we'll go on, because I want to change this model a little bit. But I want you to recognize every effect has a cause. You heal the cause, the effect goes away. In a cold, it's the immune system. It's the healthy immune system that takes care of the problem virus. And in about 14 days or less, depending on your health, these symptoms go away. They moderate all by themselves. But when you're going through it, you can get medications that will clear up your eyes, clear up your postnasal drip, do things like that, so that in the moment you feel better, but you're still sick because the virus is still active. Okay, this happens in all kinds of things. Think about almost any disease has symptoms. And we operate on reducing the symptoms. And we don't think about the cause. But if you think about pandemics and other things that we had, it is the cause you got to get rid of. If you don't operate on this doesn't go away. That's why this model is so predictable. Now, let's move on right now. Now, we've changed our model somewhat, because now we're going to talk about another health condition. And here are the symptoms of that health condition. Now, what are they? Sadness, a feeling of being down, of emptiness. Sometimes they say, it feels like I'm in a gray world or in a pit and I can't get out. Feelings of hopelessness, self-worth, no self-worth, worthless, guilt. And sometimes don't even know what they're guilty about. They just feel guilty. And sleep patterns. And there's more than this. In this particular list of symptoms, which are effects of depression. Depression. Now, all of these can be modified, and it seems to be in mental health when, because I've been out of the field now for about 5 years. Maybe I was in practice till I was 85, and then they thought I was too old, so ended up outside. But these are the symptoms that people had that came in with what was diagnosed because of the symptoms as depression. And some people with, in the change seemed to be that the agency I was with was more concerned about medication to moderate these symptoms than it was about finding the causal problem and supporting the client in healing it. So they have more nurse practitioners who like psychiatrists, can write scripts and give medication. So we used to have a lot of therapists, and then there's almost as many nurse practitioners in a lot of agencies than psychotherapists, because our belief system in the egoic world is, oh, we moderate these, the problem goes away. But let's look at this in relationship to the model that we had just a moment ago. First of all, these are effects. We call them symptoms, but they are effects of something else, because it's a cause and effect. So there is a causal problem. And the causal problem, we don't know. And most of the time, because things are changing, maybe they'll change back. But right now, we moderate the symptoms. And that's where you got to think about cause and effect in another way. Making money. Now, if you have medication and a person comes in, a client comes in, and goes to have a med review, takes anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes to have a med review, and then you have another one, and then you have another one, and sometimes it's less. So you can have 5 or 8 med reviews in an hour and get compensated for it. You have a psychotherapist sees one person for what's called a 45-minute hour, because they don't see him for the whole hour, because they have notes to take, they have to write stuff down, they have to fill out information and put it in the computer now. So everything is being squashed down, but the greatest advantage is med reviews. And of course, if a psychiatrist is doing med reviews, he gets more compensated for than if a nurse practitioner does. And if a therapist is given therapy, well, he's paid less, because in the long run, because he has to see him for an hour. And some psychotherapists push that and see him for more than that, depending on how sick they are. So it's an interesting field. Now let's look at this again. Here are the symptoms or the effects of what we call depression. Now depression does not depend on the cause. You call it or diagnose it as depression because of the symptoms. So in depression, I forget how many there are. Maybe there's 10 symptoms that are listed. And if you have 5 of the 10, you say, oh, I'm depressed. I'll diagnose you as depressed. And you can put that on a chart, get paid for it to the insurance company, or the client pays for it if it's private pay. So these are important within the system to make the system work, to solve the causal problem. No. Does it identify the causal problem? No. Well, what are you doing? Well, we're modifying symptoms. And when the symptoms go away, when you take enough medication, then in the system I was in, you don't have to see a psychotherapist. You just go get your med review. And you never reach this. You never reach this. That's why some people take antidepressants for 20 years. And that's just the way it is. So, and then they get scared, because they say, oh, if I stop taking medications and you never reach this point where you identify the cause of the problem. So, and again, people that are on medication for a long period of time for mental illness, they're afraid to come off of it. Because if they come off of it and they haven't healed the cause, this comes back. So they're enslaved to this causal problem. And where is that causal problem? In the past. Oh. But there is no past. There's only memories of the past. Now I see a question mark right here. And here's a question mark by time. When this occurs, the causal problem can be any time, going all the way back to birth, and even in the womb, which you consciously will not be aware of. So how do you solve that? How do you find this? How do you resolve this? How do you get a quality of life out of this? You can moderate that, all those symptoms, all those effects, but until you heal this, the effects are just underlying the surface. And anything in your life, any stressors in your life, will cause this to reopen. And then you have to change your medication. And the other thing is, your body gets used to the medication. And then you have to alter it. And that's what the psychiatrist or the nurse practitioner does. They give you a different cocktail to moderate the symptoms because your body has become used to them, just like an addictive drug. And you have to take more of them, or you have to take different ones to get the effect of reducing these. So this isn't always that easy, and it's not easy to find for the psychotherapist. That's why sometimes psychotherapy takes years, because you're unraveling your memories of the past. Now the events are all gone. There's no events in the past. There's only your created memories of the past. And if you created a memory that's causing this effect when you were 2 or 3 or 4, you're not going to remember all the details on a conscious level. Your subconscious mind will. And your subconscious mind will bring you this effect. And the time can be anything from in the womb. And you know, there was a therapy about rebirthing. The idea of the struggle of the birth might cause problems. They don't do too much of that anymore. But that's how far back these causal problems can be. And they can also be yesterday. So this is not an easy task. And that's why this is so much easier for the system. But it doesn't help the client, because these will come up again and again and again, and no relief. And that's why depression, and the other part of it is anxiety. Depression and anxiety are like the common cold for mental health. And they just keep cycling because this isn't solved. When this is solved, boom, these go away. So let's see what A Course in Miracles has to say about this part. And today we're having a little white tea. It's a white tea with flowers and citrus. And I don't know what elderflowers are, but that's what it said on the box. It is quite tasty. It must be because I almost drank it all. Now here's what A Course in Miracles has to say. And you'll see it up here. Psychotherapy is the only form of therapy there is, since only the mind can be sick, only the mind can be healed, only the mind is in need of healing, only the mind is in need of healing. Now, after looking at this model and looking at our title, it's a mind game. It's a mind game. What you believe drives the system. What you believe is based upon your memories of past experiences. It's all about the mind. These out here are about the mind, because the mind directs the body how to respond. And I have two videos on that. One is called The Body is Whipping Boy to the Mind, and the other one is, and I forgot what it was called, but it was very important at the time. And I'll put it up there also. To give a look at that and to begin to recognize underlying this whole system in the egoic world is the creative mind, is the creative subconscious. It's out of your conscious awareness. You won't find this consciously, because most of the time it's going to be childhood, some kind of childhood abuse before the age of 7. Doesn't have to be, but most of the time it is. It'll be in the family of origin. It doesn't have to be, but it usually is. And it's and depression can also be now. You can have it anytime. But it will have a causal problem. You lost your job, you have some financial backsliding, or something like that. Relationship ends, all kinds of stuff. It can cause depression. But this is what you have to heal. In the meantime, as an intermediate step, medication is quite helpful. It can be. But if you don't take care of it, I dealt with a client just not long ago. And he was depressed for a long time, depression. Lost his wife. And like 5 years before I saw him. And he still can't get over this. So he has these symptoms. Now he's talking about his wife passing and all that. And we worked on that, and it was quite successfully. But underlying that event was childhood abuse. And when I said, oh, well, okay, no, he couldn't. It was so painful, he couldn't even bring himself to talk about it. So he still has these. He's moderated them somewhat through some of the work he did on the other problem, but he still has these. It's still affecting his behavior, it's still affecting his sleep, it's still affecting a lot of things going on. This is not an easy thing to talk about. Because in the egoic world, we don't think about that. The mind, thinking the mind is involved in depression, there's a whoa. That's whoa. What you need is medication to handle these. But the medication will never solve this problem, which is the cause of those symptoms. Oh, there's much to talk about here in the illusion. Because we see things that aren't there. We respond to things based upon a thought process which is flawed. And we're in a medical system that goes this way rather than this way. And like the Course says, the only thing that's sick is the mind. You heal the mind, and the body is designed to heal itself. It is the mind that gets in the way of the body. And when you heal your mind, when your mind is at peace, your body is calm and healthy. Be good to yourself. And we will see you next time, right here in the illusion. Bye now.